Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.
We are the nation of domination.
What is up? What is up, Eagles Nation? It's your boy BIRDGANG31 in the building. How you guys doing today? Hit that like, hit that subscribe on your way in the building. We got a very special guest today. We got the GOAT of Eagles content, Mr. Philly 500 himself. And we're going to let y'all know why the Eagles must get Bijan in the first round. How you doing, Philly?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. I see you're down with the Draft 5 movement. I like it. I like it a lot, my man.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, these guys are tripping. Like, if you don't understand football, I can see why you are confused about the situation. You know, we definitely going to get into that, man. Like, Team Bijan is on a rise right now for a certain reason. Like, people don't understand the effect this guy will have on our football team. But we definitely going to get into that, man. How you doing? You know, how you like the offseason moves so far that we've made? You know, let's get into that first before we get into the dive deep into the whole Bijan thing, because everybody know how I feel about them.
I think they've done a pretty reasonable job for everything, for everybody that they lost, and the money situation. I think Howie has done a really good job of bringing in the younger guys, guys with a lot of upside, guys that have an opportunity to be good. So I
feel like Howie brings in them dogs.
Yeah.
Them guys that need a contract. Them guys that's looking for that next big payday. Like,
right.
It takes a certain type of person to keep adding to your roster every single year, like how he did it with the cornerback position. We got Nelson Island for a year, right. And then we turned around and got Bradbury, but he played even better, so we kept him. You know what I'm saying? Like, how he looks for those guys that are on their last year of their deal, and they're looking to make some money. And I like that about Howie Roseman. He's a king cap for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, he's done a good job. I think they've done a pretty good job. I still think there's more work to be done. There's more work to be done, and we've got to kind of think about what kind of team we have. A lot of people, they expect you to go out and replace this player for that player. You lose this player, you got to get this player. You lose that player, you got to get this player. I don't think it works that way. I think you have to tweak your roster a little differently. But if they do it right and they have a good draft, this team could be right back in the Super Bowl again.
Facts. And that's the whole goal. And see, at the end of the day, I think when the fans look at the, draft picks and they're like, oh, this guy, that guy, we're going to talk about a little bit of it. But like, I'm looking for the guy that immediately this year, not next year, not the year after, that this year will come in and make an impact so we can get over the hump. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think a lot of people look at talent and they're like, well, that guy, he'll be good. But I'm like, that guy won't start this year.
Right. See, I see it two different ways. Like, I think Howie has to build this thing two different ways. One, you want to build for the future, so you want to build over the next few years. But at the same time, you were just in the Super Bowl. You're one series away from winning the whole thing. We're not taking 2 or 3 steps back and waiting 2-3 more years to come back and be competitive again. You got to go try to win again. So you also have to make your team better this year. And you have to figure out what players are going to be able to do that. Right? I love Jalen Carter. I think he would be a great player. But you can't I don't care how good Jalen Carter is as a rookie. He's not coming in and having 11 sacks. Like,
he's not starting.
Right.
I don't care how good he is. He's not starting on our team. If we draft him at 10, he's not starting.
Right.
Period.
Now in 3-4 years, he's going to be a beast. There's no question. But how do you get better this year and go back to the Super Bowl and still build for the future? And I'm telling you, there's one guy that can do that. There's one guy that can do that, and that's draft number 5, Bijan Robinson.
Draft 5, baby.
Because you put him in there, and he's a 3-down back. He makes your offense that much better. Now you're scoring more points, and you're taking pressure off your defense. You take pressure off your defense, then you now give those defensive players time to grow, time to learn, time to grow. And it gives you 2 years to draft defensive players and stock up. Meanwhile, you've got a running back who I think he's going to be in a few years one of the best running backs in the league. So, when I hear people say, oh, he's just another back and these other backs are just as good, I don't see Bijan Robinson up here and then down here.
Then you got Gibbs like right here. Gibbs is there. And then everybody else kind of falls.
Gibbs is not going to be a 3-down back.
No.
He's not 220 pounds. I think if you look at Nick Sirianni, since Nick Sirianni came in to play or to coach the Eagles, look at the running backs that he's brought in. Trey Sermon, 5'11", 215, right? Denny Britton, Rashad Penny, 5'11", 215. Bijan Robinson, 5'11", 220. He wants a different kind of back. I think he's looking for that Bijan Robinson type.
Yeah, facts, man, facts. And since forget it, we're gonna get straight into Bijan and why. We can go into other topics a little bit later because I took a couple other positions I want to touch on with you. Yeah. But Bijan, like, I think the biggest thing they don't realize is we just lost Booby. Okay, we just lost Booby, and people are starting to forget how good Booby was. Right. Before the season started, they're like, "Oh, Booby just need more carries. He would be great. Booby just need more touches. He'd be just awesome back. He just needs to stay healthy. He'd be just awesome back, right? He stays healthy. We give him the carries. You see what Booby does. What? Close to 1,300 yards last year. Double-digit touchdowns. Now, you cannot replace that with a Kenny Gainwell, a Boston Scott, or a Rashad Penny, period. Like, Booby's a different caliber player. That's why, Carolina went out there and paid the man the money he deserved to be making, Right. And I think that they're forgetting. They're like, oh, well, we're the number 1 rushing team. And trust me, I was number 1 for talking about, Jalen Hurts, changing the whole scheme of the offense. Like, it's really a Jalen Hurts show with everybody else in it. And I still believe that. At the end of the day, to get that same production that Booby gave us, it's like you need an elite back. You can't just do that off of just having anybody back there. A lot of the Eagle fan base believes that you can have any back there because Jalen Hurts pulls the linebackers. Our offensive line is one of the best in the league. And they take those 2 stats and like, okay, well, we can plug any back there and he should be able to produce. No. And I don't believe that at all. Like, we've seen the games with Booby out. It's not the same. You remember last year, they're all clamoring for, or the year before last, they were all clamoring for a Jordan Howard. That, he should be our starting back. as soon as Booby came from injury, you seen the difference in terms of yards per carry, in terms of
Right.
yards per touch when Booby came back. It was a
Right.
huge difference. It's like, no, still need an elite back. And yes, we still need an elite running back to hit that next level to, win a Lombardi trophy. That's how it is.
Yeah. I think I listen, I do think that you can have other backs that will be effective with this line. It's the best line in football. But it's funny because everybody says, well, you got a great line, so you can have an average back. But what if you put a great line with a great talent at running back? What if you put that together and it's successful? Then you got something special there, and that's what you have a chance to do. Now, will Howie draft Bijan Robinson first? That probably percentage is not there, but I think he should. I think it would be the smartest move that the Eagles can make, to be honest with you.
Do you think it's too like people are looking at this the wrong way too? I feel like, yes, the Eagles had a long line of second round backs to play for good football, right? We got Shady McCoy, we got Miles Sanders. You know what I'm saying? Like we got some good backs that came off that second round thing. People don't realize that when it's a back that they're even considering in the top 10, a back that they're considering can be drafted that high. Usually it's a crappy team that's drafting them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not normal to be a Super Bowl team coming back the next year with the top 10 pick. That's what I'm saying. So you can be like, well, the Eagles never did it, but when the last time the Eagles went to the Super Bowl and had a top 10 pick? Like never.
Right.
So that's the difference I see in terms of why you will quantify a guy like Bijan Robinson, luxury pick or not. I don't think it's a luxury pick. I think it's a must.
I hate the word. I hate the word luxury pick. I just absolutely hate that word. To me, that's not a luxury pick. If you believe really that the Eagles should take the best player available, right, and their draft board is the best player available, then if they have somebody higher on their board, then take them. But if not, then they should take them. I don't think that there's too much narrative of you don't take a running back at first, you don't take a running back. I think it depends on the quality of carries he's going to get. If you're rebuilding, then yes, you don't want to go out and get a running back in the first round because it's going to take you 2-3 years to be good, and then your running back's kind of at the end of his contract and then worn out. But if you think your running back's that good and you're putting him on a team that's a competitor that could win a Super Bowl right now, I think that's a whole different ballgame, But I think people buy into that narrative too much, and it's just like, oh, you don't get a running back in the first round, you don't get a running back first round.
The fact that the teams that these running backs that are drafted at high, they're using on crappy teams because crappy teams got top 10 picks. Like that's a whole nother game changer that you're not even really understanding. Like usually you can say, think about some of the last first round backs that's been going out there, like these guys are good in the NFL, but are they great or their team great? No, because they went to teams that were like sub 500. You know what I'm saying? So they went to sub 500 teams. So they
Rock Artist, what's up, Rock the Artist?
What up, Rock? They went to sub 500 teams.
Oh.
So that's why it doesn't look so good. But when has you seen a Super Bowl team have a top 10 pick?
It doesn't happen often. No.
It doesn't happen. And we might not ever even see it again.
Right.
It's a possibility. We won't see it again.
I think just it depends on what you think. If you think that there are other good running backs that are close to him, then yeah, you're probably not going to want to take him in the first round. But if you think he's far and above the other running backs, which I do, then I'm going to go out and get him. That's how I look at it.
I think there's a huge gap. Like this guy saying, like, do you see the gap between him and the rest of these guys? Listen, for me,
I think there is.
I watch highlights.
I do.
I've watched game film. Bijan Robinson, like, head and shoulders better than every running back in this draft. And I love Gibbs. I'm in Alabama myself, and I watch every Alabama game ever played. You know what I'm saying? Like, I watch all of them, because it's on TV and it's at my restaurant and whatnot. Yep. I watch all of them, and I love Gibbs too. Like, if we didn't get Bijan, I wouldn't care if we got big. But I'm just telling you, if we got Gibbs, it's not the same effect. Like
I
blue
agree.
chip players are blue chip players.
Yeah.
Gibbs is a good player, but he's not like that blue chip, like can game change type stuff. Like I feel like this. How do you feel about me saying this? If we got Bijan Robinson, it's an upgrade from Miles Sanders.
I think so. Yeah, I do. I would agree because I think you're going to get a three down back, and then you're getting a three down back for what 4 years, 5 years with on a rookie contract. I think that also plays a part of it. You're going to play if you drafted Bijan Robinson, let's say with the second first round pick, you're talking about like a what $3-4 million solid cap hit over like the next 4 years per year, right?
Yeah.
So you're not paying him that much money. Now you don't have to worry about the position. He's getting paid rookie contract, and you can then go into Hurts's extension in the big years in his contract, not having to worry about a running back. If you go and you get Rashad Penny, right, and he goes out, let's say he has a great year. Because I do think he's talented. But let's say he goes out and has a great year. The Eagles aren't signing him. They're going to let him walk. They're not going to pay him. Then what? You're going to bring another running back in? Okay, he has another good year. He's gone. And then every year we're going to just play rotating chairs with running back? Why not have stability on your offense all the way around? I want stability on my offensive line, at my wide receiver position, at my running back position. So to me, I
for
think
a low cost too.
I think
like you got rookie deal 5 years.
Right.
I know people say 4 option 5, but it's basically
4
5 years.
Right. You also got 3 running backs who are now franchise tag, right? As much as running backs are devalued, you have 3 teams that went out and franchise tagged their running backs.
And one of them being one of the ones that, they compare him to. They haven't seen a better running back since Saquon Barkley came out. And what is it? Saquon had all them bad years of being hurt where everybody started to lower his value. And then last year he stayed healthy and now his value back up there. You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand. People like Christian McCaffrey, 2 years out, didn't even play for 2 years basically. You know what I'm saying? Saquon been hurt. Even Henry out most of the year and last year hurt. You know what I'm saying? These guys do get hurt. That is just fact. I'm not saying it's not.
I'm not worried about, and I'm not worrying about the second contract. A lot of people worry about the running back second contract. I'm not worried about it. If I get him for 5 years, I have to let him go. Then that's fine. I had him for 5 years. I'm going to
5-year window.
I'm going to use the crap out of him for 5 years. I'll worry about the second contract when the time comes. But for 5 years,
I think that's what people worry about. Like you said, they worry about what about re-signing? We don't re-sign running back. Who cares? Who cares? That's 5 years. Jalen Hurts on his contract, 5 years into his contract. With Devontae Smith, with AJ Brown, with Dallas Goedert. You know what I'm saying? Those are prime players to be 5 years in with. If you can't win a Super Bowl in that window, that's your own fault. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you add a guy like Bijan Robinson to your offense, and then people are I would trade back to get. To be honest, I would draft him at 10, just to say whatever. I'm not taking a risk. He could get drafted. Between whatever I trade back to. Would I trade back to get him still? I'll be happy the Eagles were able to hire Roseman, and he is the king of cap. So he could trade back a couple of spots, 13, 15, something like that, and add assets to our team and then draft them. But you have to know that those teams weren't really looking for a running back. But if there's any chance in hell that any of these teams after us wants a running back, then hell no, I'm not giving them a chance.
Now, listen, I will say this. I want Bijan Robinson. Do I think and know of how he's going to go out and do it? That's a whole different subject.
You don't think he is?
I don't know. I think there's a slight chance, but I think that probability wise, no, I don't think he will.
Because of what he's used to doing, right?
Right. Because I think I think here's what I think will happen. I think Jalen Carter falls to 10. They're taking Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter doesn't fall to 10, I swear I think you're going to take one of those offensive linemen. And I think that would be the 2 most likely situations that they do. And then if not that, then I would say Bijan after that. I think he has a chance. There's a chance. But
for me, it's like this. Everybody keep talking about how he normally does. But since Sirianni and this camp been in, he hasn't been doing normal hobby stuff. For one, drafting receivers in the first round. That never happened before. You know what I'm saying? Drafting SEC players. That never happened before. You know,
True.
so that's 2 years of back to back showing you what's up. Last year, he got Jordan Davis, right? So he's one of the highest DTs in the draft. We got him. We loved him. Now everybody's acting like he's not going to do nothing this year. That's a whole nother story we can get into later. But the biggest impact from last year was taking that draft pick and trading for A.J. Brown, an offensive player. This is an offensive league. You heard our owner, Jeffrey Lurie, come in and tell you that he focuses more on offense than he does defense because the rules are set up against him.
And that's why I think there's a shot. There's a couple of reasons why I think there's a chance. I'm not saying it's a big chance, but I think there's a chance at 10 because of a couple things. One, if you look at what the Eagles have done this offseason, all their money for the most part, except for one guy. I'm not going to count Mariota because he's a quarterback. You need a quarterback anyways. But all of that money, all the cap money, everything has gone defense. They have not done anything on the offense yet, almost like they're waiting for the draft to address the offense. Okay, that's one. Two, we do know that the Eagles did have interest and they wanted to draft Christian McCaffrey at 14. They view Christian McCaffrey as a 3-down back. They wanted him at 14. That has come out before. They would have taken him at 14. So we know it's not impossible for them to draft a running back if they think he's the right kind of running back. Okay, that's another reason why we have a shot. And then the other shot is this. People talk about cornerbacks, safeties, linebackers. When do the Eagles draft cornerbacks in the first round? When do they draft safeties in the first round? When do they draft linebackers in the first round? It doesn't happen. So those positions that people want to argue about are just as rare to get as a running back. Well, Alito Shepherd was the last corner in the first round. Then I think Ben Smith was a safety, became a corner, but was a safety that the Eagles took way back in the 80s. They haven't taken a safety. They don't take linebackers in the first round. So those positions are just as unlikely to get drafted as a running back. So if the Eagles have Bijan Robinson as a top 10 talent and he's there, and let's say Jalen Carter's off the board, I think there's a shot. I'm not saying it's good. I think there's a shot.
Let's talk about it, though. What's your opinion on that in terms of Jalen Carter versus Bijan? Like, what do you really think? Like, watching football, being a football guy, what would be the bigger impact? Because for me, I look at, even if we get Carter, you know, he has some dramatic stuff happen to him. He was in an accident. His friend died. You know, he came to the, his pro day, out of shape, out of weight. It's like, for those who think that Jordan Davis is out of shape and we got to work him into the system, what do you think we're going to do with this guy? It'd be the same thing.
I think if Jalen Carter checks out and they're comfortable with him, I think you got to take him. I have him as the second most best player in the draft.
Over Bijan.
I have him over Bijan overall. So
we already have DTs.
Well, I'm just saying, just from a standpoint of best player available, I have him ahead of him.
But in terms of like best player for our team next year.
Well, for just next year, I mean, you still got Fletcher Cox getting old. You still need another defensive tackle. I think you got to go Jalen Carter if he's on the board. But I still want Bijan Robinson. I want to go up and get him. I have another first round pick. I want to trade up and get him. I don't want to sit back and not get him. Okay. But I think if I'm being honest, Jalen Carter is, to me, if he checks out with everything off the field, I think you got to take him.
That's my thing with him. Like, my deal is like, if you do that right.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about Eagles this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really like to project 3 years down the line, 2 years down the line. I'm talking about, we are in the next season now. So I'm talking about this year for us to win a Super Bowl this year, right? I just don't see that Jalen Carter being as impactful.
I think if you,
because we still got Fletch. Fletch had a good year last year. It's not normal Fletch, but it was a good year, right?
Yeah.
But why the hell did we draft a first round tackle last year in Jordan Davis, which a lot of people like sitting out there like, oh, Jordan can't do it. You know, he's not fit enough to do it. For me, before Jordan Davis got hurt, he was a beast. Straight up. And the first 4 games of the season last year, that's the reason why our defense was like number 1 in run stopping. You know, the only reason why we got Sue and Limbaugh because Jordan Davis got hurt. Remember that? He got hurt first. And
Mhm.
then we're like, oh, well, our run defense suffered after he got hurt. So that's when we got Linval and Sue involved. And then when he came back, we were able to coddle him back. We didn't need him to play all them snaps because we just paid all this money for these two veterans to go out
Yeah.
there and do their thing. And I don't
Right.
think people really understand that. I think Jordan Davis should come out beasting this year because he got the coddle stage at the end of last year.
I
So now it is
I
your
hope he
time.
does. I
We're
hope he
putting it
does.
on you to do it. If you can do what you did in the beginning. And another thing, Jordan Davis, man, stop saying sacks with him. If he gets a sacks, that's what's up. But this dude is a whole nother cat. He's a big body, space eater. You know what I'm saying? Take double teams, triple teams. That's what you want him to do. I don't give a damn if he don't have one sack throughout the year. If he takes double teams and triple teams all year long, he did his job.
Mhm.
And I think people expect him to be like, oh, well, I want him to be like Hargrave. You know, Hargrave got double-digit sacks. No. Hargrave wasn't 300, what is he? 300, like 30, 60 pounds, something like that. You know, Hargrave wasn't
Yeah.
that athletic and that big, you know? So Hargrave had to do a different job. But Jordan Davis is there as a space eater. And that's going to continue to keep Son Reddick off that edge free. Fletcher Cox free. You know, BG free, Sweat free. You know, all these guys free if he does his job there. Now, and in Georgia, they even use him as that guy. You know, he didn't have that many sacks in Georgia, but he's a
I got to
space.
say that I get all you're saying. I still got to take I would be Bijan guy, but I got to take if Jalen Carter's there at 10, I got to take him. I got to take him now.
You're starting to
If
over
that
Jordan
happens,
Davis. Wait.
I got to take.
I like you say that. I like you say that. So you're saying if he's there, right? Jalen Carter's there at 10, and we
And
draft
everything
him.
checks out. And
You're
everything
drafting
checks
him.
out. And the Eagles.
You're starting him over
at
Jordan
10.
Davis.
I'm starting him. I don't know if I'm starting him right away. He'll rotate in. We'll see where he's at with that, you know. But he's going to play. He's going to contribute, and you know we'll see. But I have to. You got to take him. I don't think you.
Without saying what you just drafted a number 14 pick overall last year. Like that's what I don't get with the Eagles community.
Well, because
how can you not want to see Jordan succeed first before you make that decision?
You need two defensive tackles.
Okay, you got Fletch.
So Fletcher Cox is going this year. He almost was a Jet. He almost signed with the Jets, did he not?
But he's starting because we re-signed him.
Right, but next year he's gone.
Okay,
and
we're not
Hargrave
after
20,
next year.
and for a good defensive tackle, it's about $20 million. So I think you have to take Carter. But here's the thing. This is my argument. You take Carter, then okay, take him at 10. But guess what? Now I'm making the big move up. I'm packaging my 30th. I'm packaging a second round pick next. I'm packaging what I have to do to get up and get Bijan. I'm not letting him go. I'm still getting him. So that way I get two impact players on defense and offense. That's my game plan. I think that's what the Eagles should do.
Like I wouldn't be mad if they were able to get Carter and then still get Bijan. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. But I just feel like that's a risk. There's too many teams that need star runner. Like, I just feel like he's an elite back. Like I watched this cat.
Oh, I get it.
The way he cuts and moves and shit. Like if you imagine Texas, right? How good of a line did Texas have last year for real? You know what I'm saying? Like compared to the SEC or any other big division.
Oh, I get it. I get it. And I do agree in a lot of ways that you're dealing with a guy that's going to come in and play right away. Instant starter, day one. I totally get it.
So what do you say to the people that say he's just going to be in a rotation, so it's not going to be that big of a deal?
Yeah, I he'll be in a rotation, but it won't be as big of a rotation as was with Miles. Miles played half the snaps during Nick Sirianni's offensive tenure. So in half of the offensive snaps under Nick Sirianni, Miles Sanders played it. Miles came out in third down. I don't think that happens with Bijan Robinson. I think Bijan Robinson is a beast. I think Bijan Robinson has the impact that Edgerrin James had with the Colts. I think it's going to be that comparable. So that's I think highly of Bijan Robinson. but I can't take him over Carter. I just can't.
Then with the Carter thing, right? Not only do you have Jordan Davis, but you have Milton Williams ready to play. Like, that's what you drafted him 2 years ago for. And Milton played good last year.
Yeah.
So you're saying you'd rather stunt the growth of Jordan and Milton to get a guy like Carter?
I can't pass up on Carter. He's too talented. But that's just one guy. If he's gone, then we can talk. You know, but at this, even though I might take Carter at 10, I'm still going after Bijan. And it's still happening.
Okay.
One thing we know about Howie Roseman is we know that he goes and he's not afraid to trade up. And that's what I would do.
To say Carter is a must. Like, no one worries about, you know, this guy hasn't seen his best, you know, one of his teammates die. You know, he's been struggling with it. You know, he went to his pro day looking sloppy because he's been struggling with it. Like, my deal is like this. For all the Jordan Davis haters, right? Because like, he's out of shape. We got to get him into shape. Like, we're already working on Jordan Davis to be great. And he has more potential in terms of his size, his speed, you know, of being a great player in the NFL than Carter. So, if you're already working on one that you just drafted last year in the first, I don't see the big need to do it again this year.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I
just think you're working on two now from the same
one
school.
Of the things I talk about in my videos about the draft is about being true to your board. Like, especially at one, you've got to be true to your board. You got to stick with your board. You got to take the best player available on the board. And if Jalen Carter's there, you're talking literally one or two best player in the draft. I think you have to take it. I think I think the Eagles would be making a mistake. Now, is Carter going to even be there? That I don't know. I don't know what to think about the off the field stuff with Carter, but there's a good chance he won't even be there. And if he's not there, then yes, I'm game for Bijan at that point. Bijan or an offensive lineman. Because if Carter's not there, I'm going offense. I'm going either offensive line or I'm going Bijan at 10. I'm going one of those two. I'm not going corner. I'm not going safety. I'm not going defense. I'm going offense. Jalen Carter is the only defensive player I'll pick over an offensive player.
And that's the only thing about it, too. He's the only offensive player I would pick. You know? Like the rest of them,
Paris Johnson Jr., I would not mind one of those offensive linemen at all. I would not. So I
need offensive line too. Give me your top three needs. Give me your top three needs, and if you could magically put players in those three positions, who would you put?
Well,
give me your top three needs.
So top three needs in terms of down the road, or just for next year specifically?
For next year.
For next year, I think you still need another defensive lineman. I still think you need another running back. I think you need another right guard, because if you have a huge hole at right guard, and Cam Jurgens may play right guard, but what happens when Kelsey retires? You got Jurgens going to center. You still have a problem at right guard. You get a guy like Paris Johnson Jr., you put him at right guard. He can play left tackle, right guard, right tackle. Let him play right guard, and then when Lane retires in a few years, you can move him over. But I would go offensive line. I think you need depth. You definitely need linebackers. I still think you need a linebacker. I still think you need another safety. I still think you need corners. However,
what's your opinion on Dean?
If you look at the Eagles' bread and butter, it's offense. And if you look at I like Dean a lot. I think he's got a lot of upside. But if you look at the Eagles' bread and butter, it's offense. They're going to want to improve their offense. The Eagles have yet to address their offense this offseason, except for Penny. And to me, Penny is just too risky with injuries. So I have to go out and I have to address the offense. I think the Eagles are going offense early, and I think it's going to surprise a lot of people, unless Jalen Carter's there.
It lets you know the rhythm of the NFL, man. Anytime a team go out and get a back like Penny, to me, that's usually meaning they're about to draft a running back. You know what I'm saying? Penny's like the type of back that you consider a security blanket. You know,
what surprises me about people,
you got a veteran behind them. You got Gainwell behind them. You're gonna draft this guy, hoping that he's this super elite guy. But if not, I still got Penny, I still got Gainwell, I still got Boston, to cover up the defaults. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and I see people saying, somebody says this draft is low at running backs. Yeah, it has running backs, but I'm still going to take the best player available on my draft board. And if that's Bijan Robinson, I'm not passing up on him because he's a running back. I'm going to stay true to my board. I think Bijan Robinson's top 5 to 10 talent in this draft. So I'm not taking a running back because there's other running backs. I don't think these running backs are as good.
So saying that, impactful, I'm just talking about for this year. Who do you think will be more impactful?
Well,
Say you're at 10 right now, 500, and you got Bijan on the board, and you got what's his name, Carter on the board. Like, not drafting off of like long-term Eagles, just next year to win a Super Bowl. Who do you think will be more impactful?
I think it's tough because I think Jalen Carter is going to be very impactful year one.
Is he starting over Davis? Is he starting over Cox?
He might end up starting over one of those guys. He might start rotating Fletcher Cox in because he's older. You don't want to take as many snaps. So I still have to go Carter, but Bijan Robinson would be my second guy. I think a lot of it is a lot of people don't think he's that as good as I think he is. So
yeah, that's a huge part.
That's the problem. And people don't think Bijan is as good as like I think he is. And so that's
I just think people are used to drafting backs in the second round. And like people forget, man. I remember hearing Dougie P talk about it. I remember hearing Kelly talk about it, and maybe even Andy Reid. Like, we've never had an elite back ever. Like they were good backs. Shady was good.
Shady was elite.
He turned elite. But when we drafted him, he wasn't coming out of college as elite back. You know what I'm saying?
No.
No.
Well,
he wasn't talked about in the first round. He wasn't talking about in the first round like elite.
Well, everybody likes to talk. You don't draft a running back in the first round. You don't draft a running back in the first round. I really think it depends on the team you have. If you have a top 10 pick like the Eagles, and you're literally could go back to the Super Bowl, and he's going to make your offense better. I don't see why you would pass up on that. That's crazy.
If Carter's going no matter what at 10, you would draft Bijan. Do you think it has to be a situation where we move back a couple spots to draft?
No, I'm taking him. No, I'm taking him, especially because all the reports are coming out that the Patriots are in love with him. Right, ooh. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach ever, right? In love with Bijan at 14.
Sorry, Big Red. Big Red's a guy. I still give Big Red love. I wanted to beat him. We haven't beat him since he left.
Yeah.
And to me, he's the greatest coach of all time. Like, I love Big Red. But Belichick too.
I think the Eagles like Bijan a lot more than I think there's a lot better chance than people act like there is. To what levels I still don't know. But I think there's a chance. I think we got a shot,
People always like, if he comes in, he's gonna get the ball.
The thing with Jalen Carter, here's the thing is, I don't know if off the field stuff is going to affect him. That's the question I have is the stuff that has happened with the combine and the racing and then coming into is that going to turn teams off? Like we had reports the Raiders and the Lions literally have taken him off their draft board. Are the Eagles going
That's a huge thing, though. You see one of your teammates die.
Oh, I get it. I know.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, I know. And that's why the Eagles may be the perfect spot for him if you think about it, because they've got Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean. He gets some support. But I feel bad. I mean, I feel like the kid is probably has post-traumatic stress. But is he going to fall off people's draft boards? I don't know.
Let's play devil advocate then. Okay. You select Carter, right? What is the Eagles going to do at running back position? Do you think we got enough at it? Or what would you do if you select Carter? Who are you getting?
Say that again.
So say we do select Carter, right, with the 10 pick.
Okay.
What are you going to do at running back? Because we need an impact for running back.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my 30th pick. I'm going to take a second round pick extra I have next year. I'm going to take either a player or another pick, and I'm going to shoot up the draft, and I'm going to take Bijan Robinson. I'm going to get him. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to go up as high as I have to go to get him.
But you do that
because I have several picks next year. I have what I'm going to have multiple thirds and fourths because of compensatory. I could find a way to get back that second round pick. I ain't worried about that second round pick, but I'm going to use it as leverage to get up in the draft, and I'm going to get him. I'm not letting him fall to Dallas or any of those other teams.
It's the Eagles choose running backs by committee. By choice, because we never had no star elite running back. That's what I say.
You can and you could have Bijan Robinson and still use him by committee. But the idea that people could say, here's this great talent, and this kid's really good, he's a great talent, but we're going to skip the talent. We don't want the talent because we could get an average guy to come in instead.
But you can't.
Why would I do that? Why would I want to do that? If the offensive line is so good that it makes average running backs really good, how good is Bijan Robinson, a great talent, going to be behind a great offensive line?
I think that's what they're mistaken. We've always had a top flight offensive line, period. Always. It's been a year. When the last time you don't remember us having a good offensive line in Philly?
Oh, it would be back in the Buddy Ryan Kotite era.
Okay.
Not since Andy Reid's been.
We've had good offensive lines, but we've had running backs that didn't do nothing. Even Jordan Howard, the little spark that he gave us that year, it was nothing compared to what Booby could do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's what they're missing. Everybody keeps saying, well, Jalen Hurts helped us lead the number one offense in rushing. We've been number one in rushing, or the year before last and last year we were top 5 for sure. You know what I'm saying? Rushing because of Jalen, yes, but you can't just throw anybody back there and expect the same production that Miles Sanders gave you last year. Period.
Yeah.
Like Booby had a special year last year, and we need a special back to make sure they come in and have that same year, or else you're taking a step back to try to move forward. Moving forward for us is winning the Super Bowl. If you want to win that Super Bowl, your team has to be that much better than next year. If you lose a guy like Booby Miles, you need to replace him with a guy that can have the same, if not better, production the next year.
I agree. That's why we got to get Bijan. That's why the draft 5 hats. That's why we're willing this thing, man. We're trying to will it. What I'm saying to you is if Carter's there, I'm getting both.
Give me your ideal first 3 picks. I see this guy said, Philly, what do you think about Kancey?
I love Kalijah Kancey. I really, really like Kalijah Kancey a lot. I do. I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic. 30? I don't think he's going to be there at 30. I mean, I don't think he's going to be there at 30. So I really don't know where Kancey's going, because I have seen things where he goes 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there. Even I've seen him to 10. I've seen him go as high in some mocks at 5, which is crazy to me. And then I've seen him go the back half of the first round. So I don't know. But my 3 picks, my top 3 picks, like how I would like it to
work. Go like 10, 30,
like my dream scenario.
What we got?
I gotta stay at 10 and 30.
Stay at the 3 picks we got. It's 10, 30, and what 6? What was it?
All right. In this scenario, I'm gonna assume Jalen Carter's not there because he's an elite talent, right? He's elite talent. And I'll just say he's not there.
Okay.
So I would say 10 Bijan.
Okay.
I'm thinking, do I want to go offensive line and then trade back up for Bijan? 30. There's a kid I like a lot. A lot of people don't talk about him, but I've been watching him and I like him. I don't know if he's going end of the first to second. It's kind of hard to figure out, but I would say something like this. How about like Bijan Robinson, then like Kylie Ringo at 30, and then the second round Keon White. I like Keon White a lot. So something like that would be good. If I could get an offensive lineman at 10 and somehow trade up and get Bijan, I would do that too. Something
for me, if I can have an ideal draft, Top three picks, pick whatever BIRDGANG wanted. You know, I would go Bijan 10. I'm taking him at 10. I don't care. I really think people are really underestimating this guy and what he can do in the
I agree.
system with Jalen Hurts
I
and his
agree.
offensive line. If you thought that was good what he's seen in Texas, what do you think it'd be behind the offensive line? And with a guy like Jalen Hurts pulling linebackers away from you? Like he would be
Agree.
dynamic, you know? So I'm taking
Yep.
him at 10. In a position with the 30th pick that no one's really talking about, no one's even really talking about, except for your boy Shakes. I seen him on that video he just had. And he opened my eyes like, yeah, you're right, Shakes. We need a number 2 tight end. Stoll's good. We've been waiting for Jackson to do something since that, spectacular catching he did in the preseason 2 years ago. Like we've been waiting for him to do something. He's been hurt. Stall's good, but he's more of a blocking tight end. Go get that, tight end out of Georgia, Wallace. Bring him to the squad. If you're gonna help, that helps Jalen Hurts both ways. It gives him another target in the middle, and it helps the offensive line. Because you got a tight end on the offensive line, you can run more double tight like WB used to like to do. So I would go draft him if he's still there at 30. Because he's a good tight end out there, and he's the best draft prospect for the tight end position right now. And we do need a second tight end. We know
I'm not opposed to tight end. I don't know about the second round or first, like not with the second first though. I'm not.
They said this guy should go in the first.
Yeah, I don't know if I would use. I mean, I wouldn't want to use that first pick on him. But if listen, I'm not opposed if he's the best player available and they really think I'm all for taking, being true to your draft board. I really am. I think that's an important thing.
They don't know Washington. That's his name. He is a beast, man.
Yeah.
And then with my second round pick, I'm either getting whoever's available between Ringo and Battle. Or if Cassie's there too. Say he slips out of the first. Because Cassie's hype just came over the last month, for real. It wasn't hyped up at the beginning. It took it out to the combine before really they started talking about first round with this guy. Like no one's really talking about first round until after the combine. So he can push to the second round. So if Cassie, Battle, or Ringo are available, those would be my option for the second round pick. Just throwing 3 at you. We can get one of those 3 plus the tight end. Because I think everything how we did was to support the defense.
Right.
It means you want to go offense in the draft. And if you think about it, what's smarter? If you're about to pay your quarterback, and that's another thing we can talk about Jalen Hurts and his contract, what do you think he should get? But I hear in rumors right now talk about this guy's getting a Patty Mahomes type deal. He wants to be team friendly. He wants to go long term. And he's getting like a Patty Mahomes deal, 10-year deal. If you're going to do something like that, you need to make sure without those 10 years, like you said, if we get Bijan, that's 5 years of those 10 that he got an elite running back, to help him out. So who cares about defense? Defense, I always feel like defense gets a plug and play. Just like our defense last year, we plugged and played. It started to get a little weak when Jordan Davis got back. What we do? Veteran guys on the bench. Sue Limbaugh, come on. I'm going to give you some money to come finish this up.
I agree. I think that the bread and butter for the Eagles is their offense. And I think they're going to use premium early picks on the offense. I think Jalen Carter may be the only veer off that path is if he's there, they'll take him because of the talent. If they feel comfortable with all of the.
I think we did that route last year with Jordan Davis. Like we could have good when other ways.
I think they would do it
again.
Well,
he's the best defensive guys, and then we use our other draft pick for AJ Brown, who's more impactful, Jordan Davis or AJ Brown.
Right, AJ Brown, but AJ Brown was a veteran. I don't know that Jalen Carter's even going to be there. So the whole argument may be moot because there's a good chance he won't even be there. And if he's not there, then I think you got to go offense. I think you have to go offense. I think offense with 2 of the first 3 picks, and they have not addressed offense at all. If you look at all the money that they spend. It's been all defense. And then they got Penny, who, listen, has talent, but I don't see how anybody can sit there and think that he's the answer when he's never healthy. They don't think he's the answer. They think he's a rotational backup guy. That's what they think.
Trey Sermon was so good, he would have played.
Right.
And the fact is,
talking
about, He looked so good in practice on some cuts. You
Yeah.
should have seen him. He was so good, but I couldn't get him on the field. 17 games, playoffs, you couldn't get him on the field.
They're going to want a bigger back. The Eagles are going to want a bigger back like Penny. Bijan Robinson has a real chance to fall to the Eagles. It's possible the Eagles could draft him. I could see a situation where it happens. I'm a lot more optimistic than other people about it.
I'm not saying that, like this guy said, imagine being able to repair Davis and Carter
I know.
together.
It'd be awesome.
That'd be cool, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we have DTs. Like people act like most players that people want in that top 10 pick for me, and this is where I like draw the line with Bijan. I'm like, that's why I want Bijan. Because most players you're talking about, DT, DN, offensive line, you know what I'm saying? We have players that are going to be starting next year in those positions. You know, so it will be a rotational situation with any of those guys. If we draft Bijan Robinson, first round 10, he is our starting running back, period. I don't give a damn about Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Penny, freaking Trey Sermon. None of these cats are Bijan Robinson. Miles Sanders was not even as high as a prospect as Bijan Robinson coming in. So if you don't understand that, if you think that it was so awesome that Booby got us 1,200, almost 1,300 yards last year, double-digit touchdown, what the hell do you think is going to happen when Bijan gets here?
I agree.
It's my thing. It's like, you got to score more points. It's like, yeah, our defense let it down. I go, everybody that says the defense let us down last year don't remember the beginning of that Super Bowl, right? We were up double digits, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts fumbled. Miles Sanders fumbled. Those are offensive players. Imagine if we don't get those two fumbles in red zone for them to come back. We would have blew out the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We would have won by double digits. If they didn't, the offensive players then made it. I know it's easy to always turn to the defense like they gave it up at the end, but they did what they had to do for us to get the lead that we had, and the offensive players gave it up. They fumbled the ball away in red zone, you know, and 30-yard lines, and where they, you know, you gave the number two or number one, whichever way you want to look at it, offense the ball at 35-yard line. You think they're not going to score a touchdown? Big Red's not going to score a touchdown on us? What the hell are you smoking? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the offense gave up that Super Bowl to me. It wasn't a defense. They got a defense too a little bit, but the offense really. Because we were sitting. If you could say you were sitting on the edge of your seat, waiting for the offense to get an opportunity to get the ball back at the end to win it, you got to look at the beginning of the game when the offense gave you 2 touchdowns.
They did. There's no doubt about it.
So if the offense doesn't give those 2 touchdowns, you got a more elite running back there. You got more talent on that offensive side of football. That means we're scoring more points. And we already scored the most points ever by a losing Super Bowl team.
Right.
So if we're going to go in with a stronger offense, that makes me feel like we're going to go win a Super Bowl.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think as in regards to next year and just going into next year, I think making your offense better is the best way for the Eagles to go about it while they retool their defense over the course of a few years. I think that's the best way to go about next year. There's no question about it. And Bijan Robinson would be a plug-and-play guy. His carries would be meaningful because he would be on a team that is fighting for Super Bowl. So I agree with you on all that levels. Absolutely. And
so I did, you know, and I know you do because you're draft 5 guy myself. Yeah. I want to talk to you about this.
I want Bijan. I mean, I think the play is Bijan either way. Whether you have to take Carter at 10 and trade back up, I think the Eagles have to, like they traded for A.J. Brown and a first-round pick, and people laughed at me last year when I was saying that they need to do that. They need to do this with Bijan. They need to go up and get him. If it's not a 10, then you have to go up and get him. But you got to come away with him.
How far off 30 do you think you have to do? I've been doing a couple of mock drafts. It seems like
my guess. I think
between 17 is looking like.
I think between 15 and 20, you got to get up to. I would try to trade up to 15. That I think Green Bay's got that pick. That would be the pick I'm looking to get up to 15.
So how would you feel? Say, right? We don't get Carter at 10. He's available, right? You got both of these guys available. We don't get Carter at 10. You trade back to get, you know, a second round pick, a 4th round pick. and then get Bijan. Like you still think that would be a better
Well,
move?
how many
If you
picks?
want Carter, you said if Carter's there, you really have Carter, right?
Well,
So
the only
if you're trading back like a couple spots, and then you got Bijan, is
if
that better
the
than
way
getting Carter at 10?
it depends. Why am I not taking Carter at 10? Am I not? Is something wrong with Carter off the field? Is it an off the field issue? If it's an off the field issue and something that they don't trust, then I
Just for
trust
more
Howie.
ammo, more players.
No, if Carter's there,
I feel like our second round of this draft is going to be really heavy in talent.
To me, if Carter's there at 10, you got to take him.
No matter what, you're not trading back. Take him.
You got to take him. I'm not trading back. What am I going to trade back and get?
Bijan.
I'll go back. I'm going to come up and get Bijan. I'm coming up right after that. I'm coming back up to get Bijan. I have no problem. I don't have to go back. I'll come away with Jalen Carter and Bijan Robinson this draft. 2 impact guys that will play right away. I'm not, doing it, but I don't think Jalen Carter's going to be there. To be honest,
he said. B. Lewis said he don't think he's making it 10.
Yeah.
I don't think he will either because he's supposed to be the best talent in the draft.
I think somebody will take him, and it'll be before the Eagles.
But you are saying if say Carter goes 7, no matter what, that's to pick Bijan. There's no other guy. What other prospect? That's basically what I'm saying. What other prospect besides Carter are you taking? Besides if you didn't get Bijan,
nobody, unless Will Anderson Jr. drops. Yeah. Now, I'm not. Me personally, my opinion, no. I'm taking Bijan at that point. The Eagles, will they take Bijan? I don't know. I could see them going offensive line. I could see the Eagles doing that. I could see Howie doing that. But it's going to be, what do the Eagles take in the first round? They take defensive linemen, offensive linemen, and receivers. Every other position would be outside the box. So when people say corner or safety, it's just as much of a risk or as a possibility as a running back. So I would take the running back. If Carter's off the board at 7, like you said, I'm taking Bijan Robinson. That's what I would do. I would take.
Okay, now another scenario. Bijan and Carter's off the board. Who you taking?
Bijan and Carter,
both off the board. Who you taking?
I'm going to either try to trade back, or at that point I might try to trade back, or I'm taking Paris Johnson Jr. I'm taking the lineman because he's an instant plug and play guy.
Yeah.
But if I get Bijan Robinson at 10, I may turn around and trade up for Kancey. Hey, that's what he said. There you go. He just said it. There you go.
That's a good move. I would do that too.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying when people I do know we need some more defensive help. I do know that. Yeah. But I just feel like he's a generational type back. Like, if you look at the last 5 times, a back got drafted in the first top 10, top 15 pick, there have been exceptional backs. And for you to be in that mention of those guys,
yeah.
The thing is, Eagles never really had a top 10 pick when those guys were available. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were always like 13, 14. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always go to the playoffs, it seemed like. So like, we're not clear in striking distance to really get them.
But most of the time when good running backs go early, they go to bad teams. There's not a lot of times you get good running backs going earlies to teams that are just for the Super Bowl. It's it's not the same situation as a normal draft pick. Like, it's not a normal situation. So, I look at the 10th pick as the extra pick. You want to stick to your rules, stick it with your pick. This is the pick that you can actually.
What was the extra pick? The AJ Brown pick was the extra pick, right?
Right. And they did something and it was not characteristic. Before that draft, I took a lot of crap because I was saying that the Eagles, there were 3 receivers, right? There was DK, Debo, and AJ, all up on trade discussion. And I kept saying, you got to take one of your first round picks and get one of those guys. You know how much? I heard the Eagles don't trade first round picks and pay wide receivers $20 million. Stop talking. Really, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. The same shit I hear about Bijan Robinson. So to me, I think there is a chance. It's not the same situation as normal. You usually don't get a Super Bowl team that has the opportunity to get a running back in the top 10 like that. So if you get the opportunity, you do it. I think you do take a chance and do it. I look at, like I said, Bijan Robinson to me would make as much impact as Edgerrin James made. I believe he's got the talent. He's got to do it, but I think he's got the talent to make as much of an impact as Edgerrin James made to the Colts and Peyton Manning with the Eagles. I think
he had a bigger impact than Booby does last year. If that what Booby did was special.
Well, no, he would. I think Edgerrin James. I think we're talking. He reminds me of Edgerrin James. That's who he reminds me of, and that's who I think it would be like.
Yeah. So I want Bijan, man. I'm team Bijan 100%.
Yeah.
Not really even thinking about anything else.
Jackson,
I wouldn't even move back. A lot of people they're comfortable with saying moving back to get him. My deal is you move back, you might not get him. It's a possibility.
It depends. I think Howie would have. I trust Howie in that situation. Jackson Smith-Njigba is a very good player, but would the Eagles take another wide receiver in the first round? That would mean Rager. It was a first-round pick. Devontae, first-round pick. A.J. Brown was giving up a first-round
pick.
Would they really go 4 years in a row using a first-round pick on some sort of wide receiver? I can't see that. No, I think that would be hard to see.
I get another. How do you feel that? Let's go to that. Everybody's talking about the third receiver, even though on our offense, the third receiver is really like the fifth option. Because you got AJ, you got Devontae, you got Dallas Goedert, and then you got a running back out of the backfield. And really, before we really think about really getting to that third receiver, do you think we're giving Quez a chance? Because Quez came out and said he dropped the ball, basically. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I had a down year. Mentally, he wasn't there from off the field stuff, and the fact that, I told everybody, you went from being number 2, 700 yards, to then we get A.J. Brown. Now you're getting less. So, of course, you're going to be mentally kind of disturbed about that because you just came off a season where you're the number 2 guy. You're not. You're the number 3 guy now. What are you doing if you're the Eagles? In terms of this number 3 spot, do you give him a chance to rebuild himself, or do you just say, I'm not worried about you and your personal problems. I'm gonna go out there and get a third receiver.
I would get another wide receiver, but I wouldn't get a receiver just to sit there and give up on Quez. I think you just bring in somebody to compete with him. So you bring in somebody to come in and compete and challenge Quez in that slot, and then let them go battle it out. I think there's nothing wrong with doing something like that. But I'm not interested in trading Quez Watkins, because what are you really going to get for him? I still think he's got talent. I still like Quez. I do. I still think there's something in there and Quez can play. He did. He had some bad things happen last year. However, I wouldn't give up on him, but I would bring in insurance. And I would bring somebody and be like, all right, look, I got you here. I got him here. It's open battle in training camp for the slot receiver. Go win it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I feel like you got to let Quez be the guy. Because he done already came out, verbally and personally told you that he was tripping. You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, my bad. This year was, I had all the field stuff. The whole fact you brought in AJ, and I wasn't number 2 number. I was number 3. I had to kind of. You think everybody that go to the NFL want to be a star, And he obviously came out and told you. He didn't come out. Rager never came out and said nothing. He was just bitter. Right. He never came out and talked about his bitterness. Quez at the end of the season told you, hey, I was tripping. I took a step back. You brought in more players. I had all of those stuff. I feel like that still should be his spot one more year. Where he shouldn't even have to fight for it. I wouldn't even bring anybody in, because you got to think, how often are you going to the fifth option? Not very often in his offense. As fast as it is, it's like a luxury. You get luxury to give Quez another opportunity.
Well, they haven't brought anybody in yet. They haven't done anything on offense. They have not really addressed their offense at all yet. That's what makes me lean towards them doing something early in the draft offensively, because they haven't done anything yet.
And Bijan can play receiver. I've seen some receivers.
Bijan can play receiver, yeah.
He play whatever. That's the thing. He's a total package back. And that's the thing for all you Gibbs guys out there, and all you, Zach guys out there, and all you Bigsby guys out there, we can just play. I'm not saying these guys can't tote the rock. You know what I'm saying?
They can.
They can.
They're going to.
They can.
There's
But they're
good
not
running backs.
Bijan. Because Bijan is a total package. He can block, he can receive, he can run. He's a total. There's
Right.
not a weakness in his game.
Well, and I think that's where a lot of the disagreements come, because I think that a lot of me and you see Bijan Robinson differently than a lot of other people. We see Bijan as levels above everybody else, and if people saw Bijan on the same level that we do, I think that we would have more people agree with us. But
Yeah,
but they
because they don't see the total package. Like you can watch every highlight. If you guys even click, you guys all watch YouTube. Obviously, you're watching us. Go check out Gibbs, Bijan, and like all whatever Disby, any of your big backs you want to talk about. And they will all
well,
tell you that they have
I
flaws
think
in
the
their
Eagles.
game.
I think the Eagles are getting away from certain backs. I think the Miles Sanders, those kind of backs, I think the Eagles want to get away from. Just if you look at the way they signed, like who they signed on the roster, right? Gibbs is what, 5'11", 200? That's like Miles Sanders size. I think they want the bigger back. I think they want the 215, 220-pound back. That's Trey Sermon. That is Rashad Penny. That is Bijan Robinson.
There you go. You got I see Robinson and the Edgerrin James. There you go.
Yeah.
Guys. You know, and that's the thing. It's a complete back. You don't have to take this guy off the field. And I know everybody like we use rotation, but honestly, I remember hearing coaches say, like I said before, if they had a back that didn't have to rotate, they would keep that back in. But since we don't got that guy, we rotate. You know what I'm saying? Like it's always been that reason. It wasn't because if we had an elite back, a Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, you know, Christian McCaffrey when the Eagles were trying to get him. If we had that guy, there wouldn't be so much rotation.
They did, because he wanted a 3-down back. Miles was on a 3-down back. I think you would still have a rotation with Bijan, but it wouldn't be like it is now. But I think the Eagles are getting away from those smaller backs that they've had in the past. It's just my theory based upon what Sirianni has done so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this whole coaching staff has brought a whole new era out of Howie. Even you know what I'm saying? Like Howie's the best GM ever, for real. Like you look at what Howie's done in his tenure. Like what other GM can you say? You know, I was a big Ozzie Newsome GM fan. You know, because what he did with the Ravens, I was like, dang, this guy's legit.
He's
he
great.
legit players there.
Yeah.
But Howie's already outdone him. You know, to be back in the Super Bowl 2 times in 5 years. You know, to actually win a Super Bowl and then be back in there, like he's doing things that, you know, to be down $60-70 million in the cap and come back,
right,
and still sign players to be a competitive football team. Like at the end of the day, we really just need to sit back and chill for the Cap King, Howie. Let him do his thing.
I think Howie's got something up his sleeve. You know what I mean? I do. I think the Eagles are going to do something that's going to surprise a lot of people. You know.
So we already talked about the top three you wanted. Like besides draft picks, is there any free agents out there that you think the Eagles should take a look at? You know, receiver wise.
Look at. Yeah, you know what? I have a video that I haven't released yet, and I was talking about the possibility of Jarvis Landry, the wide receiver.
Ooh, I like that.
You know, him in the slot could be an interesting person to go compete with Quez.
AJ Devontae and Landry in the slot.
I don't know what he's asking money wise, but I think that could be a very underrated signing. You know, for the Eagles, because he could come in and be effective immediately.
I do like that. Landry. Do you think the Eagles should bring back either one of those two defensive linemen and Linval Joseph?
I would like to see one of them come back. One of them. I don't care which one. Linval.
Do you think if we don't get Carter, but say we don't get Carter, but we re-sign Sue, would you feel comfortable with our defense? So I hate how everybody thinking that since we don't got, you know, Hargraves, that our defense line is trash. Like we're not gonna get no sacks because our defense line is so bad now that we don't got him that we can't do nothing. And I really feel like Jordan Davis is about to break up and show out. Like he's about to be like an elite defensive tackle in this league. But for those who don't think that, Milton Williams for another. He had a good season last year for the position he played. Marlon Tuilopo, before he got hurt, he was playing more than Jordan Davis and Milton Williams. That's how good he was
Right.
playing. And people hate on him because he's from USC. But I told everybody that year he graduated, him and Ufunga were the best players in that defense.
Right.
If you not noticed, Ufunga stays healthy and he is an all-pro safety right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
he will be a stud if he stays healthy. And that's Marlon's biggest problem. Marlon is a beast. That's his biggest problem. Is his health. But because he plays so many snaps. But if you got him with Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, then Marlon too, with Fletcher Cox, he's in a rotation. I think that if he can stay healthy, he'll be a beast by himself. So I feel like our
Right.
defense line is already set right now. Like we don't, even if we didn't add another piece, I'm happy with the defense line we got going into next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're ready to go. I think they can play. I think they're going to be good. There's no question about it. I think they're fine now.
So
but,
early prediction 500. Let everybody know: are the Eagles going back to the Super Bowl next year?
Yes, they're going back.
We're back in there.
And they're going to go back with a better offense than people realize. They're
And
going to
people
go
don't
back.
realize too. They always think defense, and I do agree, defense win championships, offense split crowd.
I don't agree with the
But
defense.
there's been Super Bowls won by both. There's been Super Bowls that you could be like, oh my God, the defense won that Super Bowl. With shitty quarterbacks and shitty offense. But there's also Super Bowls won by awesome offenses and shitty defenses. Like even last year, who had the better defense last year, us or KC?
Us.
Going into the Super Bowl.
Kansas City.
They had better defense than us?
No, we had a better defense, but they
That's
won
what I'm saying. Who had the better defense?
Yeah.
And they won a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and we had the better
Yeah.
defense. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm telling people, like, everybody's like, oh, we lost the Super Bowl. We need to go restock. I'm like, listen, it's about the offense, too. You got to have a dominant offense.
I believe that the whole saying defense wins championships does not apply today. I believe offense wins championships with a opportunistic defense. You have to be a defense that capitalizes on turnovers and things like that. But it's offenses that win championships. So you look at the Super Bowls we played in, it's offense. So I'm a believer in offense.
Offense wins championships now.
I think
that's
so.
exactly what happened last year, man. I agree. I like that. I like how you said that. Like offense wins championships now. Defense helps, but the offense wins the championship. You can't
opportunistic defense. You have to be opportunistic. You have to be in that Super Bowl where Brandon Graham gets the fumble on Tom Brady, right? That was opportunistic. Brady threw for over 500 yards.
Yeah.
But we came up
and
we got a turnover when it needed. That's what wins championships, not defense wins championships. It's not that kind of league anymore. The Eagles know it. Jeffrey Lurie just got finished saying it. You know, that's why when I see people saying that these drafts, if you look at all these mock drafts that people are doing with the Eagles, it's like defense. I'm thinking this team's getting ready to go offense early in this draft because they have spent all their resources and money so far on defense. They patched their defense up. Now they're going to go out and get offensive pieces.
Facts.
That's why they got a shot at Bijan Robinson.
And I tell you, too, if you're going to give Jalen Hurts the bag, you know what I'm saying? You're about to give him the bag, you know, a huge contract. Why would you want to put all your allocacy, you know, all your investment, you know, money and all that shit just on the defensive side? And what's going to happen when Devontae's up and, you know, Goddard's up and all these guys are hurt? Like, why not keep adding on the offense to make sure no matter what, your quarterback's going to look good throughout his tenure? It's easier to replace defensive linemen, you know, linebackers with 1-year deals and stuff like that. You can keep doing that every year if you need to, as opposed to having an offensive nucleus that always going to game. If you look at that, how big of a jump do you think Jalen Hurts makes this year? From the jump you see him make from year 2 to year 3, how big would you tell the fans, you know, how big do you think that he's gonna make this year? Because you already hear he's in there like a maniac right now.
I think his passing game gets better. I think he throws over 30 touchdowns. Nice. So what did he have? 25 throw? I think he throws 30.
26, right? 26 like that, yeah. How many rushing touchdowns?
He had
13 or something like that.
12 or 13, something
13. Like if you're Nick Sirianni, like they asked him, If we give Jalen Hurts a back, are you messing with his game at all? Are you telling him to stop run? Are you telling him any of this? And that's another
I
reason why
think
I'm getting Bijan. Listen, before you answer,
well, that's
that's
another reason,
another
right?
reason why I'm getting Bijan so he don't have to run the ball.
Absolutely. 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 I think he can still run, but I think you can't just you got to cut back on it at some point. So you have to get another running back. I agree.
But you don't think that would make him special?
No, I'm
And for
not
me,
saying
that's
you
what
don't
makes
run
him
them.
special. Like the fact that you got to worry about him on a run game and a passing game. That's what makes him Jalen freaking Hurts. That's what makes him the best quarterback in the league to me. It's because you have to worry about it. Patty Mahomes, you're not worried about Patty Mahomes running the ball. Joe Burrow, you're not worried about Joe Burrow running the ball. You know, Josh Allen, yeah, you worry about him running the ball a little bit, but he is reckless when he runs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
you're not gonna be able for the long term. You're not going to be able to allow him to take that punishment that he can.
But we can't say that because he's like the biggest quarterback we've ever seen.
But
Like in
even
terms of
still,
like strength wise, those guys aren't as
yeah.
strong as Jalen Hurts.
And yeah, but he's still been hurt 2 years in a row. He still missed games. You know, he only takes so much hits. I don't care how strong or big you are. You can only take so much of it. I think you have to cut it back.
You're down.
Yeah,
you're
a little bit,
down.
not a lot, not a lot, a little bit.
Are you saying down where he's not getting double digit touchdowns, where he's not getting?
No, he still might have 8. He might have 8 to 10 touchdowns.
How many yards you want?
I have to dial it down a little bit. I have
this year though, or is that something you do 2 years out, like after that contract kicks in?
Do I have Bijan Robinson this year?
If you got Bijan this year, you're down and out. You're down and down this year if you got Bijan. If you don't get Bijan, then you're down and down a year or two from now.
And I don't think that's his run game is a dynamic part of the offense. But man, I think what makes Jalen Hurts is up here, and
yeah,
I think it's that's what makes him special. The other stuff just goes along with it. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's what they say. He's the smartest quarterback because he has 3 options every single play, and not most quarterbacks don't have that. He is executing that at a very freaking high level. Where he's like, okay, I know I need to run. Okay, I know I need to pass. And he's throwing dimes, man. Super Bowl shows you he showed up and showed out in that Super Bowl night. You erased that fumble, which was a face mask to me, and I'm just biased.
It actually was.
It was a face mask to me on the play. But you take away that fumble, like he had a flawless game in the Super Bowl. You know, like I didn't expect him to put up that many passing yards, to drop that many dimes in the Super Bowl. You know,
he was incredible.
Eagles win the NFC East Super Bowl.
Yeah, they're going back, and depending upon what they do with the draft, and Bijan, and who they get, if they can make that offense just better going into the season, I think they go back.
Do you think we need to add? Like I said, I would use that second pick of Wallace. You think they need to add a second tight end at all?
I'm open to it. If there's somebody worth taking, you know, then take them. Do I know if I want to go first round tight end, second round tight end? I don't know, but I don't mind mid round picks.
Bijan and then a first round tight end. Now you really are injecting talent into that offense that is one of the best in the league already. You know,
absolutely.
So it'd be hard to really stop those guys. So I can see either way. Like I said, for me, if you draft Bijan in this first round, I don't care which way you do it, but you trade back and draft them and get some more picks, or you draft somebody else and be able to draft like Philly 500 said, draft Carter and then move back up and go get Bijan. I don't care how you do it, just do it. You know, if you do it, that's what's going to happen. If we don't, like, I just don't think people understand. If we don't, because you think about all the free agent running backs or any running back you can trade for, that's big money on the books. You know what I'm saying? All these guys are going to cost you some money. Like, this is a rookie deal, 5 years. You got this elite running back. You'll be an idiot. Just like when they drafted Jalen Hurts, when they had Carson Wentz, it was a business move. It's like we didn't want to pay $15 million a year for another backup. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been doing that. Who we had? A dude from Kansas City, the backup we had from Kansas City before, Nick Foles, and then we had Josh McCown. We're paying all these guys 10 plus, 15 plus million a year to be a backup. Yeah. And then people got mad when we went and got a rookie quarterback in the second round. Like, that was a business decision. That wasn't about, we don't like Carson. That was like, okay, now we gave Carson the bag. We got to have a reliable backup quarterback. And I think that's all
Yeah.
that was. Like for the people that hate on it. And I think we need to do that for the running back position. Instead of going out there going to go get some high name. I like Zeke too. How do you feel about Zeke? What do you think when you heard that Zeke? At all.
I don't want
0%.
anything to do with it.
0%.
Zero.
Even
Minus
if Zeke
50.
came with a veteran minimum deal, you want Zeke for 1 year.
I don't want.
If we didn't get Bijan, how about if we don't draft Bijan, would you want Zeke?
No.
Is it because you're a Cowboy hater?
Well, that's part of it. That's part of it, but I don't see what if I don't think there's enough Twinkies to go around Philly for him. You know what I mean?
0% on Zeke. I thought it would be a good idea. If we didn't get Bijan,
I don't think he's got anything left.
Last year he had something left, but just Pollard took all the carries.
I don't think. I think that's because he's shot. There's no explosive. Fat, not a sheep. I don't want anything to do with. And then to just know the history of Cowboy players coming to Philly, I don't want anything to do with it.
Everybody said DeMarco Murray, right? Murray came into a bad system. 2 carries didn't use him right. And I agree. I hate Cowboys. I don't want no Cowboy play. I don't even want. I feel like every other team in the division that got our players play better with our players than we ever do when they give us players, But I just, for some reason, I just think if we didn't draft, and this is only if we didn't draft Bijan, and I'll even say Gibbs too, like some of these top end backs. Say we went through the draft without drafting any of these top.
I'm going to draft a running back. You got to draft a running back. So to me, I'll take any of these running backs. I'll take them over. I'll take them over Zeke. Even
if you got rid of Gibbs, all the Zach over there in UCLA, they're all drafted. You still take the next best back over Zeke?
Yep. I'm not.
Zeke played good last year, though.
I'm not touching him. I'm not touching him.
You're wrong, man. I get you. I understand. But I just feel like Zeke would be that. Like, I want Bijan.
I don't want him.
I just feel like we need a number one, period. Game was not a number one.
Bijan.
Boston's not number one. Do you think Gibbs is number one? If we would have got Gibbs, do you think he's starting over Gainwell? Because I feel like Gibbs and Gainwell are the same player.
Gibbs will start over Gainwell, but he won't start over Penny. He's going to rotate in. I don't think he's a 3-down back, Gibbs. Is Gibbs really a workhorse back that you're going to have 3 downs? He's a electric dual threat. He can catch out of the backfield.
What about like a guy like Bigsby from Auburn?
But to me,
that's a good runner.
Gibbs is going to be like Miles. He's going to be out in 3rd downs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
These guys are all going to come out in 3rd down. Bijan Robinson's in on 3rd downs.
Every down until he's tired. And that's what I think people are misunderstanding. It's a different level of running back. Like the running backs we've had on the team is not his level. Like we have never, ever drafted. If we draft them, we have never, ever drafted a running back that's projected to be that high ever as an Eagles organization. We would never have done it. So you can't say what would happen if we did it because we never done it. We never put that kind of allocation in a running back before. And he is that dude. So draft 5, baby. Draft 5.
Draft 5. That's it. That is.
Everybody want to get that draft 5 merch from, baby.
Huh? Oh, I don't have the link. I don't have the link, but if you go to one of my videos, the link will be right there. You draft 5. We got 2 different kind of hats. We got the trucker hats with the screen print, and then we got the embroidered snapback hat. Right there, that's a snapback hat on. They looking really, really nice. And
what's so smart about that 500? Like even if we don't draft 5, you still got a draft 5 hat with this color, so people still buy it.
Well, I could.
That's tight. I love it. So
listen, if they don't draft 5, then I got to do this during the stream, right?
No, you don't. If the Eagles don't draft 5, somebody's drafting 5 in the 1st round.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was a smart business move, I understand.
Like, you would think Dallas Cowboy fans would be buying those things.
They need it. But they love Pollard, man. They think Pollard's up.
They want Bijan, dude. They want Bijan.
They do too?
Yeah.
You don't really give Pollard all this money. You give your running back Pollard all this money, make him DC Zeke, and then turn around and give him a running back. That'd be
Yeah,
crazy.
they want him. I'm telling you right now, Cowboy fans want him. They think the Cowboys are taking him. So we're gonna have to deal with him.
Man, I'm
He's
not worried
less
about
than
the
25.
Cowboys next year. I looked at the schedule, man. I'm telling you, if you looked at the schedule, I'm not sure if you have. For me, I already see 14-3 for real, and the 3 losses is if we lose to those guys, and that'd be Kansas City again because for some reason Andy Reid got our number. We can't seem to beat them. I hate it. I hate it so much. I just want to beat them already. Like you've been gone for a while, and we cannot beat you, and that is pissing me off. You know, we need to
Right.
beat Kansas City. But if you were to say this, that the theory keeps on Kansas City, Buffalo, and who was that third team? I forgot the third team. Kansas City, Buffalo, and I think it was like maybe
Um,
Cincinnati. Is it Cincinnati? We play Cincinnati next year.
I don't
Um,
think so.
it's one of them top end teams for sure. I was like, that's 3 teams I can give you, but the rest of that roster, man, we should mollywop the rest of these guys. Like, I'm not really worried
Yeah,
about it. Do you think that
yeah.
coordinators leaving is a big deal? Because on the opposite side of the ball, I think it shouldn't even matter because it's still Nick Sirianni offense.
The defense. Would you ask me about the defensive coordinator?
Like the coordinators in general, both of them leaving.
I mean, I'm open to see what he can do. I have no idea what to expect from him. I'm giving him a chance, and hopefully he blitzes a little more than Jonathan Gannon. But I'm glad Gannon's gone. So we'll see. I don't know what to expect from him.
Do you think that we're gonna be one of the people that like the grass isn't greener on the other side with Gannon?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? You think it's gonna be better defense?
I think he's gonna. I think we're gonna have a better. I think we're gonna have a better. Uh, we're gonna have better play calls and more aggressive defense. I think we're gonna like the style better.
What about the offense with Shane out? Because
Offense.
Shane helped Herbert,
I think the
Shane
offense.
helped
I think the
Jalen,
offense is good. I don't think it misses a beat.
right? Because it's still Nick's offense, right? Is that how you feel
Yeah,
about it? Because that's
yeah,
what happens to all head coaches.
and
They
they're
get their
gonna.
offense coordinator plucked, and it's still their offense.
Yeah, and I really like their what Brian Johnson. I really like their offensive coordinator. I think that was the right guy to get. They're going to keep everything similar and the same. It ain't going to be a problem.
Nice. So, like Philly 500 says, guys, go get your draft 5 merch ASAP because 5 is coming in Philly. I don't care what anybody said. You got to be a retard to not want 5 on your team. Like,
I'm ready
if you look
for
at
it.
the
I'm
biggest
ready for
hole,
five.
we had the best offense, right, guys? But without Booby, we don't got the best offense no more. Think about it. He was a huge piece of that offense. He is gone.
Yeah,
He is playing in Carolina right now. We do not have a running back 1 right now on our football team. Draft 5 in that problem. And then you can draft defense
draft
the rest
five.
of the draft. Do whatever you want after that. I really wouldn't care. We draft 5 at 10 or 13, whatever you got to move back. Wherever you draft them. I don't care about the rest of the draft for real, for real. So I really feel like our defense, the players that we lost, we have players in the wings waiting to come up and make their presence felt. And now they get that opportunity. And before you move on, you got to find out what you have. And if you can't just skip over what you have to go try to get something else new. You got to see what you got first. You didn't waste a 13th pick or 14th pick overall last year on Jordan Davis and not know if he can be a number 1 DT, period.
Right.
You know? Why? That's a waste. 2 more years. You're waiting 2 more years for a guy you drafted in the first round. That sounds stupid. Find out this year what he can do. And if he fails us, he fails us. At least we know. But
Right.
I'm on Team Bijan, man. I hope we get that.
I'm
Man.
with you. I'm all about Bijan Robinson, baby. Let's get him. Let's get it done.
Hey, well, thanks again for your time, 500, man.
Oh
Much
yeah,
love
of
to
course,
you. I
of
love,
course, man.
you're one of my role models. You're the goat up in here.
I
I'm just
appreciate
trying to
that.
be
I
like you.
appreciate
So everybody go get your
I
draft
appreciate
5. Go hit up 500 if you haven't, which I know you guys all have. If you subscribe for me. So yeah, any last word before we get out of here?
Nah, man. Just thanks for having me on, man. Definitely, and yeah, get your draft. If you want draft 5 hat, get them soon because we might have to cut those pre-orders short so we can get them all out by draft night. So.
Well, you heard them. Go get it.
Because
'Cause I'm about to give me one for sure. I like it.
there you
Go get your
go. There you
draft 5. Holla at your boy. Subscribe to all channels. And we out. Peace.
Peace.